So, hello again and welcome to your Sunday practice. Today, with a special focus on doing something nice for your back. It's going to be a very therapy oriented class with a lot of gentle movement and a lot of emphasis on breathing and noticing how you feel. And above all, please listen to your body and feel free to modify whatever suits you so that it's working for your body today. We'll start on the back. So you can bend your legs and keep the feet on the floor. Having your knees up is a really nice way to soften the front of the hips, and this will also give you a little bit more sense of ease, releasing tension in the lower back. And especially if you do have any pain in your back, and particularly the lower back, this can be really nice. You could also bring your knees together, moving your feet out a little bit. This will just give you a little bit more support, which you may want. And if everything's feeling good in your back, then you also might want to start by extending your legs one at a time. With your arms by your side, see if you can bring your shoulder blades a little bit more under your body. So it's not really about squeezing them towards the middle. I'm not trying to restrict anything yet. Contract, but really having the shoulders resting on the ground with your hands facing up and your head and your neck right in line with the center line of your spine. Find a comfortable position that you can just pause in and give yourself a moment to arrive. Notice how you're feeling in this moment, in this body. And with every exhale, notice if there's any tension you're holding on to that you can release down into the ground. We're going to work a lot with awareness of breathing today. Whenever possible, breathe in through the nose. But if it feels good, you could also breathe out through the mouth, sighing or making a sound with your breath. That's another one of the ways the body likes to release tension. Again, notice how your body feels. And then notice if there's any sort of hardness, any sort of resistance, or anything you don't need, that you can just soften and release with your exhales. Once you've taken the time to notice that, turn your attention towards your breathing and just begin to follow the natural rise and fall of your breath. So wherever you notice your breath, perhaps that's in your belly, or maybe more in the upper chest, or even in your throat or nose, find one spot in the body where you can feel and you can observe your breathing. And then just rest your attention there for a moment without judging, without worrying. So if the breath is perhaps a little bit shorter or shallower, just notice that. If it's long and deep, that's fine too. You might notice the gentle coolness of the breath coming in your nostrils and the way it's gently warmed as it leaves both sides of the nose. Notice any and all of the qualities of your breathing that you can observe in this moment. And then notice how they change with the next breath. It's one of the amazing things about the breath that makes it such a useful tool, really the foundation of our practice, is its presence. It is always there for us. And yet, just like everything in the universe, reminding us of our connection to everything, it is always changing. So just see if you can be a little bit more aware of that, a little bit more interested in your breathing, a neutral observer of whatever it is. Now we're going to start to work with modifying the breath and deepening it. You could do this with your hands, or if you have a prop like a book or a block or even a cushion, you could also use that to give a little bit of feedback to your breathing, a little bit of different feeling as you breathe. And now we're going to deepen the breath just in the belly area, in your lowest part of the abdomen. And really enjoy this bigger movement and the fall of your exhale. And let the breath get really full here in the lowest part of your breathing room. Now, if you're resting your hands on your belly, be sure to keep your elbows resting on the ground, your shoulders as relaxed as you can, the head and neck nice and heavy and long. We'll just take 3 more deep belly breaths here. In through the nose, and exhaling completely, and soft. We're going to deepen the breath a little bit more and allow the movement to move up a little bit more. So for this part, I do like to use my fingers. You could try it with your prop. But bring your fingertips or your prop to the lowest rib in the body. So this is the part just above the navel by about 1 hand, a little bit more. Find that lowest rib. And on your next breath, again, deepen the breathing so that you notice the rise of the belly, but also notice the movement through your rib cage. There's an opening and a little bit of expansion between the ribs. And then as you exhale, notice the gentle contraction, the ribs coming back together, and the breath releases. You do about 4 or 5 more with your full attention in this part of your breathing room, noticing the way the rise of the belly gives way to an opening in the middle of your chest, middle of your breathing area. And at the end of your next exhalation, we're going to bring the fingertips to the collarbones. These are the kind of bony protrusions here at the very top of the breathing room. They rest just above the tip top of the lungs. And we're going to come to a fullest, comfortable breath here. Starting just as you did before, so empty the lungs completely, the belly falls in, and as you inhale, begin a deep breath from the bottom, moving through the middle, expanding out and opening, and maybe you will feel some movement here up in the collarbones. Pausing with fullness, just a moment, and then exhaling, releasing the breath out from the top, through the middle, and all the way out through the bottom of your breathing room, fully release. If you like, you can squeeze the belly into the body to get that last air out. We'll take again 4 or 5 more of these fullest, comfortable breaths. Full yogic breathing here. And see if you can let go of any unnecessary effort. This is not really about trying harder. It's really more about feeling and just letting your breath be as big, as full, and completely releasing as easily as you can. It's not so important if we feel the movement here in the collarbones, not yet. Just notice as you take 2 more breaths. At the end of your next complete exhalation, you can release this practice, deep breathing, and come back to your resting pose. Come back to your simple, natural breath. And just take a moment again before we start our movement today, movement practice, to notice again what you notice and feel what you feel. Wonderful. We're going to start with some gentle movement for the whole back. Bend your knees. You're going to have your knees right on top of your feet. So this is, if you reach with your arms, you should barely be able to touch the back of your foot, touching the heel with your longest finger. You're going to try to keep the knees nice and stable and parallel to each other. Your arms relaxed, your shoulders resting down into the ground. And this is a lot like cow and cat pose that we often do on our hands and knees, but we're going to do it on the floor. So on an inhale, begin to arch your back, lifting through the chest and the heart. And then as you exhale, we're going to round the back, lifting your tailbone up between your knees. So as you inhale, the tailbone starts the movement, pulling down to the ground as you get arched, the lift. And then as you exhale, your tailbone pulls up, the navel pulls into the body as you get round, really pushing down into the ground. Continue like this. The movement begins at the base of your spine, your pelvis, your sacrum. And the tailbone is kind of pointing or leading the way as you alternate between a forward pelvic tilt as we arch and a reverse or posterior pelvic tilt as we round. And 2 more. And at the end of your next exhale, with your lower back resting on the ground, pause and stay here. So we're not This should feel easy. This should feel like a resting position. And above all, I want you to try to feel the length, but also those gentle curves in the spine at the bottom, just above the sacrum, and of course at the back of the neck. So the back of the neck resting easy and long, just like the front. With the back of your head on the ground, exhale and roll your head to the side, keeping your head on the floor, and then inhale to the center, exhale to the second side. We'll do that one more time on each side. But if ever I offer something that feels like it's not right for you, it's not working for you today, feel free to leave that out. Or you could also just do it a little bit more if it feels really good. And then come back to a neutral position, resting here on the floor. We're going to work on stabilizing our core, stabilizing the especially lower abdominal areas. And the abdominal muscles go all the way up into the fifth rib. So we're also going to keep the ribs, try to be conscious of those hugging into the body and not really popping out when we do this work. The other thing is you want that length in your lower back. So try to avoid the extreme positions of arch. You can push down with your seat, push down with the lower back a little bit firm into the ground. Inhale and bring your lower legs off of the floor. And before we get moving, go ahead and engage the belly into the body and up a little bit. You can keep your arms on the ground, or for a little bit more, bring your arms over your chest, like you were holding a little ball of energy in between your hands. Again, inhale, feel the length of your spine and its curves. And then as you exhale, slowly tap the foot of one leg towards or to the floor, and then inhale back up. And on the exhale, second side. So try to keep your knees very stable here. In fact, they're not moving much. They're just kind of opening and sliding through the knee joint. But whichever direction your knees are pointing here, right above your hips, try to keep them right where they are. So this movement is coming from your core, and of course, with your breathing. And if you ever feel any sharp sensation, something that feels like fire or an electrical pain, please stop that. Slow down, take it a little bit easier. The same thing goes for cramps. If you feel a sharp cramp in your feet or your legs, you might just want to pause and maybe squeeze that muscle or wiggle it out. Let's do two more like this. Moving slower here might actually be more difficult, but really see if you can maintain that connection through your center, through your core, the belly pulling into the body, even as you breathe deep. And spread your toes for good luck. Come back up, second side. We're going to try to put both legs together, but really connect to your center, belly in, and exhale, lower the toes slowly to or towards the floor without moving your knees. And then inhale back up. Oh, let's do one more. Why not? Nice. Inhale. And then exhale. Give your legs, or squeeze your legs into your body. Give yourself a hug. But again, see if you can keep that tailbone reaching away from the head. So the lower back is nice and long. And then we'll just massage the back a little bit. This is always good for your back. Feels really nice to have that firm pressure against the back. And just give a nice massage to the organs on the back side of the body. Okay. So we're going to do just a little bit more for the lower back and some mobility through the hips. Again, the feet right underneath the knees parallel, and the full back extended, easy and long. On an exhale, you're going to reach for your first leg and squeeze it into the body. Tailbone pointing away from the head, and inhale, release it back to center. Exhale, second side. Belly engaging into the body to engage that core. And using your inhales this time for release. At least that's how I like to do this sequence, especially when I'm really tight or I'm feeling a little bit tired and there's some difficulty with mobility in the lower back. This is one of my favorite ways to get things loosened up a bit through the hips and really just relieves a lot of tension in the back. So this is one of the general principles of back care. By bending your knees and working with your legs a little bit more, we take a lot of that load out of the back, the lower back especially. So in all of the work today, feel free to bend your knees a little bit more if you need to. Let's do one more time on the first side and stay there as you exhale. Belly in and inhale, bring your head and neck up. Back curling round into the ground again. And then exhale, release. Second side, I like to begin it on the exhale, but sometimes you might feel like the other breath relationship works better. So when I say inhale, you might feel like it's more of an exhale, and that's okay. But most important is you just feel that. So inhale, belly in as you come up with your forehead a little bit more, and then exhale, release. Nice. Okay, so if you're having any pain in your lower back today, I recommend a prop for this next twist. And you would just have that by your side to give you a little bit of support so you don't go as deep in the twist. And so what we're going to do here is bring, in this case, I'm going to bring the right knee on top, and I'm going to twist to the left, so I might need more space for my hips. I'll scoop my hips to the right, arms out like a T or a cactus shape, bending the elbows. And with your shoulders on the ground, the back of the head on the ground, go ahead and lower your knees over to one side. And just hang out here for a few breaths. So you have the option of bringing your hand on the outside of the upper knee. Not really to force the legs down, but just to anchor. Give yourself a little bit more perspective on your length. Above all, use your exhales to try to soften any hardness and release any tension you don't need. If your head and neck feel best here in the middle, just stay here in the middle. You also have the option in our twist to get that maximum rotation, to get a maximum comfortable rotation. You can roll your head to the opposite side. And turn your attention again to your breath. Especially notice the twisted part of your side body. And see if you can send your awareness into that part of the body. And what's interesting about this attention and our awareness is that the breath is one aspect of that. And the energy of the breath will follow wherever we send our attention. We'll take one more breath here on your inhale, seeing if there's any new sensation of opening, creating space that you can feel. And staying on your exhale to see if there's any more that you can find. Coming out mindfully, you can also engage your core again to support the lower back. Come back to a neutral position and just take a moment again to observe. You might already feel a very big difference. That's great. When you're ready, you bring the knees together and the second knee on top. And especially for a sensitive lower back, I recommend a little bit of a prop. This pillow is actually a little small, so I'm going to turn it on its taller side. Scooting your hips to the opposite side may give you a little bit more room, a little bit more ease in your hips and lower back as you settle into your twist. So with our twist, we try to keep one side of the spine, in this case the top side of the spine, a little bit more grounded. And then we'll let oftentimes gravity or the legs or both do the work of the twist. And I like to think of twists like opening a jar that's a little bit stuck. And you can imagine if you just held one side of the jar, if you were holding the lid, and you try to twist that lid, well, it's not going to open much if the whole jar moves with it. So in this case, we use our grounding in the upper back, like a second hand on that jar. And then you just use a little bit of effort, a little bit of feeling, and you can twist a little easier. Feel free to move your head to the position that feels best in your neck, on your back. And then again, rest your attention in your breathing. This is our first twist, of course, so we're not going to anything difficult. Nothing should feel hard here. And if you find that your breathing has become labored, you're not getting an easy full breath, then just take it a little easier. Come out a little bit. You can take a pause as you need. Last breath here. And then on an inhale coming out, and then exhaling again just to pause and observe. Especially as we get more active, working our way through the whole body and up the back. Anytime where you're breathing, you feel like it's too short or your breathing has become forced and your heartbeat feels like it's going real fast, you might get more out of the practice by just slowing down and noticing as your heart and your breath return to their natural rhythm. That's a good place to continue. So we're going to continue with here a number 4 stretch now for the outer hip. Bending one knee, and I like to show the foot in this one, so I'll show you the other side. You're going to use the outside of your foot to hook just below the knee and the outside of the leg that is standing on the ground. The whole upper back nice and long on the ground, reach your tail away from you, and then slowly begin to bring that standing leg into the body as you reach your hands between your legs. You can grab the outside of the shin or behind the thigh underneath the knee. Just depends whatever feels better for you. And at the same time as we're bringing that supporting leg, the standing leg, into the body, you engage your lifted knee away from your shoulder. Notice the foot is flexed here. That keeps it in line with your knee. And go ahead and spread your toes as you breathe deeply. Noticing again the length of your spine, especially that lower back, reaching long and into the direction of your mat, to the floor. And breathing as freely, as fully as feels good. One more breath, and then release. Second side, as you're ready. Engage the foot so the ankle has a nice bend in it, about 90 degrees. The back is long, and then reach between your legs and give yourself a little bit more squeeze. Breathe into that squeeze and notice where you feel this stretch. So I feel it pretty strongly in the outer hip muscles, so those outer rotators there and adductor muscles, like the piriformis. This is also getting close to our glutes. It's kind of a pretty well worked area of the body. So notice also if one side feels very different, that could give you good feedback, good information about possible imbalances or asymmetry in the body. It's not at all a problem as long as you can notice that. The body is always working to find its natural balance. And yoga really means harmony, unity. So we find that harmony, we achieve greater connection with self simply by being present in the body and resting attention in the breath, our anchor into the present moment. Let's take one more breath here. Reaching that knee away from your shoulder as you take a full inhale. And exhaling with just a little bit more ease in your squeeze. Great. Okay, so if you have a strap or even a scarf that's very sturdy or a towel that you can roll up, you might want to use that for this next stretch for the back of the leg. And you don't need it, of course. I'll show you without first. And if you're going to use the strap, you put that on the bottom of the foot, just below the toes. We'll bring that first leg so that the upper leg, the thigh muscle, is straight up and down, or as close as you can get to perpendicular here. And you're going to grab behind the leg and engage your thigh bone into your hands. This will help the muscles of the leg activate. You can also always bend your knee. Keep your back long, your breath moving, full. And then begin to lengthen your leg as much as feels good in the back. Spreading the toes again. So this is not about how much you can move the leg or stretch it towards your body, but really this is about feeling the back of the leg. And for those of you with a strap, what you're going to want to feel here is that the full foot is resting towards the ceiling, so opening up through the whole surface of the foot. As you let the top of your leg, so the leg bone, rest heavy towards the ground. You don't need a lot of effort here in the hands if you're using the strap, but you do want to use a lot of breath. Go ahead and spread your toes one more time. Imagine again your leg is like a fire hose full of liquid energy. Reach up with that leg, even as you let the leg be heavy into the ground, and release. After that one, you should feel like one leg is much longer than the other. And really feel the changes, the circulation that's moving through one side. Let's see what the second side feels like. So, if you use the strap again, put it below the toes, in the area called the balls of the foot. And that's going to usually be better than the middle of the foot or the heel to both open the bottom of the foot, but also give us a nicer stretch through the back side of that lifted leg. Keep your tail, again, reaching long, away from your head and down to the ground. And the upper leg is nice and vertical here. Bend your knee if you need to. And settle in to your breath. If it feels difficult to hold on to the strap, sometimes just rolling the strap around your hands will be enough to make that easier. Those of you who are very flexible, you're going to be able to bring the leg a little closer to the body. So it's okay if you move past vertical, but really keep the leg engaged so that the action of your kneecap is moving down towards your hips and your whole leg is resting into the ground. So we have this opposing action or isometric work. You extend your leg, stretch it up, spread your toes, but let the leg bone where it meets the hip be nice and heavy. One more breath. And then release. Great. So we're going to do just a little bit more work here while we're on the floor. Especially if you have any kind of foot pain and you're not able to do some of our standing leg work later, I encourage you to do just a little bit more work for your core. That's another great way we can support the back. So we're going to, again, lift both legs and keep the upper body resting on the ground. You can always bend your knees. Go ahead and spread your toes again. Leg bones heavy. Option to hold that ball of energy above your heart. Stretch through both of your legs. And as you exhale, we're going to lower the first leg down any amount. It could be 1/3 of the way, 1/2, maybe even almost to the ground, but just keep it off of the floor and breathe deep as you stretch through both of your legs. So we're activating those fire hoses of energy again. Feel the circulation, feel the length, and breathe deep as you spread your toes again. Keep the belly pulling in, and we'll inhale to come back up. Exhale out your mouth. Inhale, reach up through both of your legs. Open the feet, spread the toes, and exhale second side. So start in a place where you can hold the position and breathe deeply. With time, you'll be able to go a little bit more. So again, the action of both legs is reaching long, and now see if you can add a little bit of a squeeze energetically, pulling your legs towards each other. So you're hugging your legs towards your center, even as you keep your belly pulling in. Breathe deep. And on an inhale, we'll come back up. Exhale, hug your knees into your chest. And then we're going to roll up. Now you can also just bend your knees and roll to the side if that works better for you. But if you're going to roll on the spine, giving that massage again, be careful not to roll on your neck. See if you can slow down your roll now and move with a little less momentum and a little bit more connection to your center. Great. Maybe even pausing to balance on your sitting bones. And then resting and coming to hands and knees. So we're now going to take cat and cow pose again, this time on hands and knees. Always have that option to fold your mat if your knees are sensitive. Double up the cushion. So with your hands below your shoulders, your knees below your hips, on an inhale, arch the back and look up. And as you exhale, pull the belly in as you get round. Inhaling, your tailbone lifting up, your sitting bones opening to the back of the room. As you exhale, your chin pulls in towards the chest, looking between your legs or maybe up at the navel. Continue like this, moving in a rhythm that works with your breath. So really, 6 days out of 7 in my yoga practice, I am exhaling as I squeeze air out and get round. And I am inhaling to work with that natural expansion as you get long. And then sometimes, just about once a week, I try the opposite breathing rhythm, and I will inhale here in the angry cat pose, And I'll exhale here, relaxing in the cow pose. Let the belly hang heavy. And this usually feels very different. The sensations in the body are different with that different arrangement of breath. And it's not really that one way is right and no way is wrong, as long as you are feeling and breathing and noticing how that feels. And you can make any adjustments that you need. So come back after your next exhale to a neutral spine. And one more time, feel the length and the curves in your back. We're going to take another twist here. On an inhale, you're going to reach that first arm up, and exhale, bring the arm underneath your standing arm as you bring the shoulder to or towards the earth. You have your standing arm here now for support right by your head. Now, most of us, our hips will have shifted over in the direction of our twist. So see if you can gently recenter them so that both hips are right above your knees. You can always walk your knees back a little bit if that feels better in your lower back. If you like a little bit more, you could classically, a lot of people like to take a bind here with the arm behind the back and bringing the inside of that far leg. And you could also just walk your hand over your head, so your bicep over your ear. This one tends to be a lot for me, a lot of shoulder opening, which a lot of you doing a lot, or maybe some of you not doing enough movement through the shoulders. This would be a lot. So use a lot of breath, especially if you're feeling a lot of sensation. And see if you can use the exhales to let go of anything you don't need to accompany that. Let go of any stories, any judgment you might have attached to what you're observing. Last breath here. And on an inhale coming out, belly in as you open up, and exhale back to hands and knees. Notice that. And getting ready for the second side. Inhale and exhale. Coming down. Notice if it's much easier, if you feel freer on this side, then you might be able to go a little deeper in the twist. And one side is often a little bit shorter, a little bit tighter, somehow more restricted. That's fine too. So again, you would adjust as you need to, and if you've noticed your hips have moved again, see if you can recenter your hips just by gently encouraging them in the opposite direction from your twist. It's usually more centered. And that second arm again can go behind your back, bending the elbow for the inside of your thigh. But lately I've been doing this one, walking the hand over my head, the bicep over the arm. That's giving me a lot of feeling in my shoulder without being too much. So the extra sensation should not be so strong that I'm sacrificing a full breath. Wherever you are, come back the way you got in. And on an inhale, help yourself back up. Open up if you like. And exhale, hands and knees. Great. Okay. Do tucking your toes now. And right now our hips are right above our knees. I'm going to walk the knees back just a little bit from that. And I may need to move on the mat. The shoulders stay over the wrist parallel with the top line of your mat. But I want my knees to not be underneath my hips so that I'm supporting the weight of the body through the arms, lengthening and feeling the length of the back with my inhale. And with my exhale, coming back now into my seat towards my feet to downward modified dog. Inhale, coming back up to a modified plank on your knees, and then exhaling, coming back again for a modified downward dog. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. Noticing your hands as you come back to plank on your knees, so that you're using all of your hands, especially all 10 fingertips. And now we're going to lengthen the first leg, pulling the belly in, and then lengthening the second, coming into plank. Exhale back to downward facing dog. And then inhale and come back into plank. Now, if your wrists are giving you any trouble as we do this, plank and down dog, feel free to come off of your wrists and just come down onto your forearms. The alignment's pretty much the same. Now the elbows might be right underneath the shoulders, and then you would push back into dolphin. Let's come one more time into plank, or plank on your knees if you prefer. And then everybody lower to your knees the first time so you can feel your shoulders a little easier. You really want the shoulders to be in the body so that they're connecting with that upper back support. As you exhale, see if you can lower the whole upper body down in one line of strength. Great. And point your toes away from your head, elbows by your side. Keep the elbows close to your side body. It should be about 90 degrees right above your wrist. And then as you inhale, you activate your feet into the ground as you reach forward and up. It's just going to be a gentle cobra here. So gentle, in fact, you don't need your hands. Inhale, use your breath to push your tail, pushing your legs a little more down as you look up. And then exhale, release, coming up through hands and knees or directly back. Now to downward facing dog again. And then look forward, bending your knees more. As you exhale, we'll either walk or hop or step forward, forward bend. Now your feet here, try to bring them right in alignment with your knees, underneath your hips, so at least 2 of your fists will fit between your hands. And then go ahead and bend the knees a little more till your hands rest easily on the floor. Notice your breath here. Uttanasana, this standing forward bend, is one of the real miracle workers for the back. It is so good. Anybody who's got some back pain, these forward bends are often a really easy, effective release. And we're going to come up nice and slowly from here. Take your time and use your legs, observe your breath, and use that breath to notice how it feels as you unroll your spine, one piece at a time. The head and neck, the last thing to come up. Now go ahead and stand here for a moment in your mountain pose. Right. So in mountain, I want to see if we can feel that breathing space we had before, and this time also perhaps again that movement of the collarbones led by the breath. So let your hands be facing forward, the bicep will be facing forward, and this helps the shoulders relax a little bit more down into the body and less of this shrugging or rolling shoulders, drooping here. The neck is long on all sides and your chin parallel to the ground. Keep an easy bend in your knees, so never lock your knees. That will reduce circulation, but you really want your legs to be long and strong. The knees are easy and free, right in line with the middle of your foot. So we start again with that belly breath, moving into the full yogi breath when you're ready. The belly opening, the chest widening, spreading. And notice if the collarbones also start to lift with the breath. So the alignment of the collarbones, when it comes to a full breath, it's usually parallel. They're right underneath your shoulders. This is what's often called a barrel breathing, a full yogi breath. Barrel, just like a big container for water, your body here, a container for the breath. So we're going to try to fill up the breath just like you were pouring water into something. Let the breath fill not just the front of the body, but the sides and even the back of your body, keeping your legs active, the action of your tailbone reaching down as you lift your heart, relax your shoulders. See if you can notice that movement through the whole space for your breath, and use your exhales again to soften and release anything you might be holding that you don't need. Do that one more time. Wonderful. Yeah, we're just going to do some easy shoulder circles here first. Now that we've done a lot for our lower back, and that cobra, really good for the whole back, in the middle. We're going to slowly make our way up to the upper back, a little bit shorter today, but if you have not checked out my digital detox yoga before, there's one class where we really focus on the shoulders, the upper back, and the neck. So roll in both directions, and you can roll with both shoulders moving, or one at a time. It just depends on how much, how easily you're able to observe what's happening in your shoulders, especially any differences. And we're going to bring the hands behind the back and rest the hands on the sacrum here. So it's just above your tailbone, these fused bones in your spine. And again, if your shoulders have scrunched up and you've lost some space or you're squeezing your neck, this is actually going to restrict the space for the breath. So we'll relax the shoulders down, interlacing your fingers, activating your legs again, standing tall. And make sure you don't lock the elbows, just like we don't lock the knees. So there's a gentle bend in your elbows. Chin parallel to the ground, and on an inhale, with strong legs, a long spine, you start to move the arms away from the back. And go to your place of resistance. No more, and definitely no struggle here. You should not feel bad, like the opposite. This is one of the nicest things, nicest poses I like to take for some. Well, it's a lot of opening, of course, through the collarbones and the upper chest, and also encourages a connection here. So helping you find that integrity in your upper back. Your elbows now, engage them away from each other. So they stay easy, a little bent, but they start to pull away. The left elbow moving left, the right one moving right. As you start to lift your hands a little bit more, keep the action of your shoulders reaching down. We'll take one more breath. And on this one, we'll release with an inhale. 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 Feel free to move that, shake that. We'll do that shaking again. We're going to do that same thing now in a forward bend. So I like to come into the forward bend for this one first. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, folding forward over your legs. You bend your knees enough till your hands rest easily on the floor, maybe your ribs already resting on your legs, and then reach your hands behind your back. And if you can, remember, interlace your hands the other way. So this time you can start on the sacrum, but you definitely want to start in a position where you feel that shoulder connection to your upper back support. That means the neck is long, not just in the front and back, but both sides. Shoulders far from your ears. Keep your elbows soft, your knees easy, and activate your legs as you start to move your hands towards the back of your head. Take 3 more easy and unrushed breaths here. Great. And coming out, you could come out with your arms in this orientation if you like, or release them and roll, or bend the knees some more and inhale, lift the back up. Exhale, mountain pose. Super. So we're just going to do a little bit of shaking now for the shoulders and real nice release through the arms. So start with one side. Start the shaking with a relaxed hand. So relaxed that the hand might start to slap itself a little bit. The fingers hitting themselves. It's like in Portuguese, rápido, right? The sound. This is all about shaking. There's no rhyme or rhythm to it, really, no reason, certainly. It's just about a free, even wild movement. But as long as you keep your arm relaxed, your wrists relaxed, the elbow will start to move with it. You know you're doing this one right if it feels like Gumby. Now I feel one shoulder is still pretty tight, so I'm just going to stay with this shaking as easy as I can. Maybe my shoulder will start to shake with it a little bit. Maybe not yet. Stand tall and release that. Go ahead and feel that. Tingling associated with kind of a reset for the nervous system. It's a great way to free up some of that deeper tension, of muscle tension, neuromuscular stress, because the body gets a little bit, obviously shaken, a little bit confused, and it does an automatic reset. Do the second side. Now you notice for this side, I'm trying harder already because my wrist feels a little bit more stiff, more resistant. So I'm going to see if I actually, maybe I'll slow it down, maybe not, but I am making it easier. Less trying, less effort here, just more shaking. There we go. Get there, maybe my elbows feeling good, so I can really just let that shake move through the whole arm. There we go. Shake it. And then slowly, when you're ready, stand tall. If you come down and release, feel that. And some easy shoulder circles again. I'm going to do one last one here. Really one of my favorites. Comes more from the Tai Chi tradition than yoga. And this one requires you to create your own resistance using the muscles through your whole arm, and of course, a long spine. So it'll be really good though for people who have a lot of stress and strain because of repetitive action in the upper back, in the shoulders and neck. So what we're going to do here is imagine you're holding something or pulling something very heavy, a heavy drawer, with your hands facing up. You'll inhale and engage the muscles of your arms as you pull your elbows back. And then you're going to twist so the back of the hand faces in, twist till your arms face back. And now on your exhale, you're going to squeeze the back of your arms in this kind of reverse hug. Okay, let's do that a couple more times. Standing tall, resist your hips collapsing back and falling into a little bit of a hollow back there. Hollow cross. And then inhale, engage all of the muscles of your arms, even as you relax the hands, open them. And then twist. And exhale to squeeze. This one's really good for the fascia, for the connective tissue all around the shoulder joint. Really great for those tennis players out there. I know there's several of you. So again, inhale, so you can keep your core engaged so that your upper back stands a little bit, whole back lifts a little bit easier. And as you exhale, really squeeze like you were hugging someone very big in front of you with the back of your arms. Let's do two more. Last two. Nice. Whew. Move that. If you feel that, then go ahead and let your head just move. It's a little bit random, or you could take some easy neck rolls, head rolls. Very nice. Okay, we're going to come down to the ground. We'll just have one last pose before we start that cool down. For this one, we're going to come wider than hips distance apart. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, drop your hips until they're at the height of your knees. And it's okay if your feet, if the back of your foot comes off the ground. Try to spread those toes again. And if you can, go ahead and lower your seat a little more. You can also sit on a block here. Use the back of your arms to keep your knees, keep a little resistance against the inside of the knees. This keeps your knees in alignment with the middle of your foot. Now pull that middle of your body, pull the belly in so that we can lengthen the back again. So this whole focus is really been about. We're just going to settle in whatever version of the yogi squat you find works best for you today. Core is active, the breath is moving full and easy. The tailbone reaches down as you lift your heart just a little bit more. One more breath. Exhale, hands to the floor, and then help yourself down all the way to the ground. Option to rest the feet on the floor and lengthen the back. You could hold the back of your knees or hook your thumbs as you lower yourself down, one vertebra at a time, or as slow as you can. Nice. And then bring your feet as wide as the mat, your knees facing up. We'll just let the knees move side to side, releasing some tension through the side abdominals, the glute muscles, and also giving that easy, breezy movement through the hips. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to find a comfortable resting position here on the floor. This could be right where you started, same as before. Or again, the option to bring the feet a little wider and rest the knees touching. See how that feels. If resting on your back isn't comfortable, you could also rest on your side. Use a pillow between your knees. Or in the classic Shavasana, sometimes it's nice to use just a little bit of cushion underneath the knees. It could be a rolled up towel or a blanket. Again, that little bend in the knees is going to really give you a little bit more ease, feeling of freedom in the lower back. So whatever position you do settle for, allow your whole body to settle in. Notice the parts of your body that are supported by the earth, contact with the floor. And as you exhale, allow all of those contact points to get a little heavier, a little bit more relaxed. Noticing the length and the space of your body on your inhales. And use your exhales to allow the weight of the body to drop towards the earth. And once you've settled in, found a pose where you don't feel the need to fidget, change anything, you bring your attention again back to the rise and fall of your breath. Notice the opening, the expansion of every inhale, Notice that contraction or release with every exhale. With every exhalation, allow your whole body to be a little bit more still, a little bit more soft. With every exhalation, feel the weight of your whole body dropping down to the floor. As your body softens and drops into the ground, notice the way the earth rises up to meet you. Your inhales again, notice those contact points that support the floor. And exhale, allow your whole body to drop down being met by the support of the earth. For the next few moments, bring your attention to your natural breathing and allow the full force of your concentration to rest in the rise and fall of your breath. Wherever you are, and whenever you're ready, bring your attention back to now and here. With the next inhale, gently begin to deepen your breathing. And again, with every exhale, fully release all the old air out. And in your own time, when it feels right, return again to a very full, but still very comfortable breath. With this increased breathing and movement that comes with it, start to wake up your physical body here moving fingers and toes, moving anything that just feels sweet, just feels nice. And if you want to stretch the whole body again, you can bring your arms overhead and reach with your arms on the floor, from your fingers through your toes. And exhale, release. Bending one leg at a time. Give yourself one more big hug. And as you're ready, roll to a fetus position on your side. And turning your chest towards the floor, you can use both of your arms to help yourself up into a comfortable seat. Sitting up on height is often a nice way to make the lift of the whole back, the whole spine, a little bit easier. Just sit in any way that feels comfortable, feels nice. Take a moment in your seat and notice one more time how you're feeling right now. Notice how at ease you feel in your hips, in your back. Notice how relaxed, how soft in the breath. Notice also how you feel in your mind. Quiet. This feeling is available to you at any time in your practice. Move your breath. Bring your arms in front of your hands in front of your heart. And lift your heart and bow your head to that heart. Namaste.